Can a change of colors really mark the beginning of a new era for Ferrari? Or is it just a marketing ploy to hide deeper problems? Ferrari's white revolution at the 2025 Miami Grand Prix represents one of the boldest and most symbolic decisions in the modern history of the Maranello team. To understand the magnitude of this move, one must first understand the almost mythical weight that the color red carries at Ferrari. Since its founding in 1929 and especially since its entry into Formula One in 1950, red has not simply been a visual element. It has been an emblem of national identity, passion, and Italian performance. Ferrari's red was not a stylistic choice. It was an obligation imposed by the FIA in the early days of the sport, assigning national colors to each team, and Ferrari embraced that imposition as an intrinsic part of its DNA. For more than 7 decades, with a few historical exceptions such as the 1964 Nürburgring Grand Prix when they wore blue and white for political reasons related to their American importer, Ferrari has remained faithful to that red, even adapting it in different shades, but never completely abandoning it. The announcement that the SF25 will be predominantly white, accompanied by blue and red hues, for Miami 2025 has shaken not only the paddock, but also the millions of fans around the world. This is not simply a marketing strategy. It is a calculated and multidimensional message that Ferrari seeks to convey. This visual change represents a conscious act of rupture, a symbol that the team is willing to leave behind the rigidity of its past to embrace a new era, more modern, more global, and more connected to the spectacle that contemporary Formula One demands today. The close collaboration with HP, its new main sponsor, has been the perfect catalyst to justify this aesthetic leap, using the tech giant's color palette as a visual bridge between tradition and the future. From an emotional standpoint, Ferrari is playing a card that few brands can afford, manipulating its own myth. By painting its car white, it is inevitably provoking both love and rejection, but above all, it is ensuring conversation, media attention, and polarization essential elements in an era where visibility is as strategic as on-track performance. The first leaked images show that not only the car, but also the complete attire of the drivers, team members, and even the Miami garage will adopt this special aesthetic, aiming for a totally immersive experience that goes beyond the simple act of racing on the track. Furthermore, the choice of Miami as the setting for this aesthetic revolution is not accidental. Miami represents one of the fastest growing markets for Formula One, driven by the popularity of the Drive to Survive series and the recent boom in American interest in the sport. Ferrari fully understands that the American market, where it is already an iconic brand, can be further expanded if it adapts to its style of spectacle, luxury, and exclusivity. In fact, if we analyze Ferrari's recent context in the United States, we see that sales of its merchandise, especially after the arrival of Lewis Hamilton, have grown exponentially, and this white livery is a move to consolidate and expand that trend. But there is an even deeper nuance to this decision: the symbolism of white as a color of renewal and purity. At a time when Ferrari has begun an internal reconstruction of its technical project, led by Frédéric Vasseur, seeking to correct years of strategic and operational errors, wearing white can also be interpreted as a ritual of rebirth, of a clean slate. Ferrari doesn't just want to appear different, it wants to be different. It wants to send an internal and external message that it is leaving behind the shackles of the past to boldly embrace the future. However, this transformation is not without risks. Changing a symbol as powerful as Ferrari red could alienate the most purist fans, those who see in every Maranello car an almost sacred historical continuity. On the other hand, there is a danger that if sporting performance doesn't match this visual shift, the media impact will backfire, accusing them of prioritizing image over competitiveness. Ferrari is betting heavily, aware that in Formula One, perception and narrative are as crucial as speed. Therefore, this white revolution cannot be understood simply as a change of paint. It is the opening chapter of a new story that Ferrari aims to write in 2025. A story where aesthetics, commercial strategy, and the desperate quest to return to the pinnacle of sport intertwine in a single, bold, and necessary commitment. Ferrari's transformation for the Miami Grand Prix cannot be understood in isolation. It must be interpreted within a much broader, intelligent, and aggressive commercial strategy, carefully designed to capitalize on the most favorable moment in decades for the Maranello brand in terms of global marketing. Lewis Hamilton's arrival at Ferrari not only revolutionized the sport's dynamics but also opened the door to a new era of economic opportunities, visibility, and strategic positioning that the Scuderia is not willing to waste. Hamilton's entry into Ferrari represented an unprecedented media earthquake. Immediately, all brand-related metrics, social media engagement, mainstream media attention, searches on digital platforms, merchandising sales suddenly skyrocketed. Puma, Ferrari's technical partner for official apparel, quickly recorded an 800% growth in sales of team-related products. This figure, which might seem anecdotal, actually reveals a much deeper phenomenon: Ferrari's transformation into an even more universal brand, capable of reaching audiences traditionally outside the Formula One orbit. Given this context, the launch of the white Puma for Scuderia Ferrari HP Miami limited edition collection is not simply an aesthetic extension of the car's livery change. It is a masterful maneuver of commercial timing. The collection, which includes sportswear, accessories, and limited edition footwear, becomes a desirable product not only for traditional fans, but also for a new, young, diverse, and global audience that sees Hamilton as an icon of style, diversity, and excellence. Ferrari's commitment goes beyond selling t-shirts or caps. It seeks to establish itself as a high-end lifestyle brand, merging luxury, sport, and pop culture in a way that no other Formula One team has achieved so far. The chosen location, Miami, further reinforces this strategy. In a city where spectacle, extravagance, and image are everything, Ferrari aims to own the event not only in terms of on-track performance, but also in terms of media and commercial presence. The alignment of factors is perfect. A booming US market for Formula One, a global star like Hamilton dressed in white to represent the new spirit of Maranello, an exclusive fashion collection available for a limited time only, and the promise of an event that will remain etched in the collective memory of fans. However, behind this marketing move, there is also a very clear understanding of the sporting moment Ferrari is experiencing. After a mixed start to the 2025 season, where the team has demonstrated single-lap speed but is vulnerable in strategy and race consistency, Maranello needs to reinforce the narrative of renewal, hope, and rebuilding. The visual and commercial impact of the white livery also functions as an emotional buffer. A way to keep fans excited, to project the image of a team that is evolving and looking forward, despite sporting challenges. It's important to note that Ferrari has learned from its past mistakes. On previous occasions, the team was criticized for not adequately capitalizing on its moments of global exposure. This time the plan is different. Every detail from the design of the suits to the sales strategy of the white Puma collection has been calibrated to maximize media and financial impact, aware that a team's economic growth in modern Formula One depends as much on its performance on the track as on its ability to build a powerful brand off it. Thus, Ferrari's masterstroke isn't just about changing the colors of its car for a special weekend. It's about redefining its identity for a new generation, expanding its dominance beyond the paddock, and laying the foundations for an era where Maranello not only fights on the track, but also in the hearts and wallets of fans around the world. The big question that emerges after analyzing Ferrari's bold aesthetic and commercial move is unavoidable. Will it be enough? Can an image revolution translate into real sporting results in the brutally competitive world of Formula One in 2025? To answer this question, it is essential to delve into the technical reality facing Ferrari and the fierce context of this year's championship battle. Modern Formula One does not forgive empty declarations. Every gesture, every movement, every promise is validated or demolished by what happens on the track. Ferrari, despite its impeccable media machine, cannot escape this inexorable law. So far, the SF25's performance has shown both ups and downs. In qualifying, the car has displayed single-lap speed, allowing Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton to regularly position themselves on the front rows. However, when the green flag signals the start of the race, inconsistencies emerge: high tire degradation during long stints, difficulties adapting to changes in asphalt temperature, and strategic decisions that, although improved compared to previous seasons, are still not foolproof. The 2025 race is particularly ruthless. McLaren, after consolidating its title as Constructors' Champion in 2024, has taken another step forward in 2025. Its MCL39 is not only fast but also extremely consistent on different types of circuits. The Norris-Piastri duo has shown a solid race that combines tire management, pure speed, and near-flawless strategic execution. Mercedes, meanwhile, has re-emerged after years of rebuilding. George Russell leads with maturity, and Kimi Antonelli, despite his youth, demonstrates the makings of a champion. Even Red Bull, in the midst of an internal structural crisis marked by driver changes and tensions at the top, remains a threat. Max Verstappen, with his natural talent and killer race instinct, continues to extract remarkable results from an RB21 that, while no longer as dominant as it was in its heyday, is still a dangerous tool in expert hands. In this perfect storm of fierce competition, Ferrari faces an existential dilemma. The SF25 needs more than visual changes or emotional boosts. It requires specific and urgent technical improvements if it is to seriously contend with the title. The main weakness remains tire degradation in mixed conditions, a critical area that in previous seasons has been the difference between aiming for the podium or being stuck in the midfield. Likewise, adapting the car to different aerodynamic configurations remains a challenge, particularly on high-load circuits like Monte Carlo or the Hungaroring. Another important factor is Lewis Hamilton's adaptation curve. While the Briton has shown glimpses of his best, he is still in the process of fully integrating with the car and the team, a process that, although advancing rapidly, still requires time and real races under pressure to consolidate. Charles Leclerc, meanwhile, remains a top-performing driver on one lap, but he needs to find the mental and strategic consistency that has historically been his Achilles heel in close championship fights. The technical structure led by Frédéric Vasseur is also in the midst of a reconfiguration process. After years of pit errors and erratic strategic decisions, Ferrari has made progress, but has yet to demonstrate the ability to run a flawless championship in 2025. In a season where every thousandth of a second counts, where every pit stop can be the difference between victory and defeat, this aspect will be as critical as pure speed. For all these reasons, Ferrari's white revolution cannot, on its own, win titles. It's a powerful statement of intent, a necessary coup to revitalize internal morale and external image. But if Ferrari wants this symbolic transformation to translate into real trophies, it will have to demonstrate, week after week, that it has corrected its structural weaknesses, that its technical evolution is constant, and that its drivers are capable of performing under maximum pressure. The year 2025 offers no room for prolonged errors. The battle for the championship is already underway, and every race is a battlefield where legacies are built or destroyed. Ferrari has decided to take a bold step forward. Now the real challenge begins, turning that boldness into victories. Ferrari's white revolution in Miami isn't simply a superficial change. It's a public declaration, almost a desperate cry, that Maranello has understood that continuing to do things as usual won't be enough to survive in the new order of Formula One. Because the F1 of 2025 is ruthless, demanding, and cruel to those stuck in the past. Ferrari, by dressing in white, isn't just renewing its image, it's trying to cleanse itself of the sins of its own recent history, the strategic errors, the humiliating defeats, the missed opportunities at critical moments. But changing the external perception doesn't guarantee changing the internal reality. And that's the real challenge facing the Scuderia today. Because in a championship where every mistake comes at a heavy price and where windows of opportunity close in a matter of months, Ferrari has no time for empty symbols. It needs this aesthetic revolution to be accompanied by a real change in the way it works, in the way it competes, in the mindset of its leaders and drivers. It needs to transform the excitement of its fans into tangible results on the track. Miami white can be the color of rebirth, or it can become the most painful reminder of how close Ferrari came to being great again, and how far away it still is. It all depends on what they do after the cameras turn off, after the white merchandise sells out, after the paddock party ends. What will truly matter will be the performance on the track, the decision-making under pressure, the ability to turn talent and passion into victories and championships. This is a unique opportunity. Ferrari has lit a spark that could rekindle the flame of its greatness. But that spark needs real fuel, impeccable strategy, constant innovation, perfect execution. The glamour of Miami can't hide this brutal truth. The spectacle is only the first step. Now the real test begins. And now I ask you directly, do you think Ferrari has truly changed? Or do you think that, as so often before, it will remain promises that time will eventually bury? Can Formula One's most iconic team truly reinvent itself and return to the top? Or will it remain trapped by the weight of its glorious past?